welcome on to Tomes, everybody. My name is Jason Wiley. I'll be one of your hosts for this wonderful podcast. I am joined by my awesome and amazing co-host, Cody.
Hello, hello, hello.
All right, so we'll cover the announcements, the kind of housekeeping stuff to start off with, which first off is always our Patreon, which is now actually up and running. If you want to see some of our latest posts or anything, our latest news on the Tomes front, go ahead and subscribe to us there. And if you want access to our awesome Discord, where right now it's just me and Cody, it's our Discord house. No one else is in there yet. So come join in
Just
on
the way we
our.
want it. Wait.
We're trying to promote. We're trying to promote. Come on, come on. But nah, if you guys want to come in, talk to us, chat with us, actually be able to have a direct line to us, go ahead, subscribe to our Patreon, which is, again, patreon.com/Tomes Podcast, and you can catch us there. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, on Spotify, because we send it out to all the other platforms. And actually, we were ahead of the curve than a lot of people like Distractables, because ours is actually a video format. So actually on
Yep.
Spotify, you can watch it video-wise there, or you could just go to YouTube. Whatever one works best for you,
Yeah.
or you're in a car. Anyway.
So enjoy. We're happy to have you guys. Glad to have you listening.
Yes. So that takes care of that. So fantasy news. First one I have to say is may Lance Reddick rest in peace. Our hearts go out to the family. I know he passed away. Like again, oh my gosh, I can't remember the term for good passing away. Calmly, peacefully. He passed away peacefully
Peacefully.
in his home in LA. So, but again, our
Yeah.
hearts and prayers are with him and his family. So, which again, we're sad for the loss, but we're also sad because again, the guy was good. He did great as an actor. Like, sorry, he's Thordak, he's Zavala. Like, again, I've even seen TikToks where everybody in Destiny right now is like kneeling at Zavala's feet. So
That's so cool.
it is so cool, and I
I
love
love
it.
when people do things like that.
Exactly, and it's one of the reasons why I love the nerd culture so much is because it's not heartless, it's not backstabbing unless you play League, but then again.
You had to bring that up.
I did. I say that as I'm reinstalling
Okay.
League, so anyway.
That's my fault.
You damn right it is.
Finally got my first S tier. Let's go.
But all seriousness, may he rest in peace. Uh,
Yeah.
Other fantasy news? Cody, do you have
So
anything?
the thing that I was on TikTok today,
Mhm.
and Jason and I both saw this or different versions of it. I
Oh,
sent it to him. So there's a TikToker, Don Marshall. All right, his TikTok handle is Don Marshall 72. He is promoting the second extended edition for Lord of the Rings because he found out there's a ton of stuff and he feels gypped, and so do I now.
me too.
And yes, so
So
I believe it was March 25th. I'm pulling it up real quick just to make sure. So the second extended edition, he's gonna promote it. He wants everyone to buy the merch. That says what about second extended edition to be able to get marketing stuff up to the actual companies and be able to promote it and hopefully get an even longer extended edition of the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
mhm. And okay, actually, so I saw
Yeah.
the video you sent me earlier this week, and then after you send me that, I found that video that I resent you on TikTok from TikTok today.
That's
So it was just kind of funny.
awesome.
The second video I sent you, I think, has it because he explains the breakdown of it just like by buying the merch. It allows him funding so he can advertise on like social media. Because again, for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok to promote it, it does take a little bit of money. So the shirts are to help pay
Yeah, it
for
does.
said promotion. So if you want to go support, because holy cow, I wanted a freaking oh Fa- Faramir, Boromir's brother. Oh, I'm blanking on his name right now.
Yeah, Faramir.
It's not Fafnir. Faramir.
Faramir.
Okay,
Faramir.
Faramir and yep, Faramir and Eowyn. Those two getting married. I want to see that scene, and then of course, like they had a scene where orcs fight going into the forest of Lothlorien. Although I think that one might just how
Yep.
we went with a different
I'm
approach.
excited. Yeah. I'm excited to see Gilgalad get choked out by Sauron.
Me too! Especially after Rings of Power.
I know. Someone needs to superimpose the other one's face onto there.
Yep,
And it
yep.
is March 25th.
Photoshop. We have Photoshop for this reason. People do
Yes.
Photoshop of
Yes, we
this.
do.
Anyway, get Galadriel. His face on there.
If any of you actually do that, we will post it on the next video as one of the featured photos.
We will post it immediately, of course, with your permission, but nonetheless.
Yes,
Anyway,
with your permission. We're assuming that you want us to post it.
exactly. We assume, but we'll double check and clarify.
Yes.
Uh, see here, I have another thing of fantasy. I guess yeah, fantasy news. I believe they did just finish up filming the new live action Avatar that's going on
Oh, okay.
Netflix.
Yeah.
Saw this on TikTok. Guy who actually plays Fire Lord Ozai said, yeah, they just wrapped up filming and right now they're going through visual like effects adding.
Nice.
So fingers crossed it's not another M. Night Shyamalan kind of situation, but he said it's not going to be like that. So hopes right now are good.
I've seen a couple little things and clips and such, and it's looking pretty good.
Okay.
I'm excited. One thing I do have,
Mhm.
it's by the time this is posted, it'll be over. So I apologize. But on the 19th, if you have an Amazon prescription or a subscription, you can purchase tickets to a 2 p.m. showing local time of Dungeons and Dragons. It is a one-time early premiere. It's this Sunday, so it'll be yesterday or 2 days ago, depending on when this video comes out. But you right now, we could purchase it. Unfortunately, I had other plans already for the 19th, so I am not able to go. I will be going on the 31st or the 1st to see it.
Not the
But
30th?
no, I'm not going out on Tuesday night or Thursday night.
Okay.
That is my biggest homework day. That is when I have all my
Oh,
assignments due. And
dang.
that is finals week.
Oof. Okay. I'm sorry. Best of luck. Rest in peace.
I have 2 essays due. One of them is 5 to 7 pages, and the other one's 3 to 5 pages,
Mhm.
and it's ridiculous.
I'm sorry, but
But yeah,
best of luck. Best of luck. All right.
that's okay, I'll live.
Yes, you will live. But still, doesn't mean life is good. Li well, life is full of suffering. That's about good suffering. All right. So, other than that, I think that's kind of the end of announcements I have.
Okay,
Uh, although I did find, well, Sanderson released a TikTok this week that I thought was really cool.
yeah.
Basically, it was just talking because apparently somebody asked him, just like, do you need to be an English major to be an author? And
Yeah.
he actually referenced Stephen King basically saying no. But what he did encourage is if you are in college, take as many different classes as you can because and he began going like learn geography, learn physics, learn all that basically all the sciences because you're going to be referencing that a lot in your books, especially if you're doing sci-fi fantasy.
Yeah, definitely.
So you need to have that knowledge and basis to go on. So take all those different classes because he said when he was an English major, he would have like the big project for the semester was you had to write 3 chapters of a book.
Mhm.
And he's like, "Pff, I can write 70 because it's stinking Sanderson."
Exactly.
So he's like, so what he did in that time was he more took more classes, researched, and learned more about kind of about the world and let
Yeah.
that influence his writing because actually that's what a lot of writers do is they go out they learn something and let that influence their writing and in so much of his stuff does all that reflect into his writing like the short story he did of the Emperor's Soul that took heavy influence from his mission from Korea
Okay.
because the magic system is actually from Elantris and it's stamps
Mhm.
because what it is in Korea that's where the whole entire thing is just like it's got my stamp of approvals from is from Korea because the king would go through it and look at artwork and if he liked the artwork he would stamp his name on it.
Oh,
So that's where the concept of his magic system for this short story came in.
okay.
So it's really cool to hear kind of some of the influences that go into it.
Yeah, that is.
And learning about other worlds and other cultures just really much goes into it. So definitely, if you are going like, if you're studying something, go out and just learn more about the world, learn more about everything you can, and just find something you're passionate about and write about it. Because honestly, that's what being an author is writing what you're passionate about.
Yeah, definitely. So there's just tying into what you're talking about. There is a audiobook that I listened to as a trilogy called the Black Fleet trilogy.
Okay.
It's a sci-fi fantasy one.
Mm,
I essentially it's in space, aliens, all that kind of stuff. But one of the groups they come across, their ships are have no power source on the actual ship. It's powered from their planet on there's facilities
okay.
that has the power and it transitions it into the ship and powers it. And I was like, oh, that's a cool concept, but there's no way that's based in reality. And then I took physics last semester.
Hey, like,
It's
I
based
was
in
a
reality. We just don't have the ability to do that.
And I think that's kind of what sci-fi and fantasy is supposed to be. It's like, oh, here's kind of this core concept, but what if we're able to do this with it? And that's really what
Yeah.
makes it interesting and fun to do. Because again, it's always okay. This is where I say this is like guy conversation because it's always dumb shit.
Yep.
Because I'm thinking back to work like a few weeks ago. We were talking because again, I was looking at like some yeah again comic books, graphic novels of Avatar. You know the one with the blue aliens, and they're in space shooting bows and arrows. And for me, I'm just like, wait, would that work or would that not work? Like, because in my mind, I was like immediately, oh no, that's not going to work. There's really no way to kind of project it. Then I was like, oh wait, no, gotta think of physics. It is a vacuum. Tension should still be kind of there, wouldn't it? Like tensile
Mhm.
strength? Yeah. And
Yeah.
honestly, even if they just threw a staff, it could just continue going.
Yeah.
So I was like,
There's just
which
go ahead.
I was gonna say, and then this is where the guy conversation comes. Is like, okay, but what if you fart in space?
It's a new means of propulsion.
It's like, does it, and everyone else is like, oh, the gas is gonna stay in inside your suit. You're just torturing yourself at that point.
Yep.
He's like, and again, my manager's just like, wouldn't it seep out like through the cracks? I was like, if it did, your spacesuit is compromised and you're dead.
Yep.
so,
And you go poof.
so that's what I was saying. That's why I was bringing up the guy conversation because we ask these kind of dumb questions.
Kind of like Shalon.
Yes. Wait, which personality is Shalon though?
Oh, it was Shalon Shalon.
Oh, true.
First book, Way of Kings. How do you
Oh,
go to the bathroom in it?
book two. That's book two.
That's book 2?
Where's the
Okay,
radiance? She's not on the Shattered Plains until book two.
that's right. I get them all mixed together. They're so long, it's all one book.
Dude, you tell me. As I freaking just re-listened to all four of them in the span of a month.
I still haven't re-signed into your Audible to listen.
I sent it to anyway. We're
I know, I saw it and I just never did anything.
anyway, we're definitely getting sidetracked at this
Okay,
point. Okay.
we should get into the book because so we can get it done.
Yes.
Uh,
Okay. So again, the core segment of this is our book club. It's our book club this week. We're going over the chapters we read in The Shadows of What Was Lost by James Islington. And
yes,
honestly, this is where now I'm more hooked in the book.
I am too.
I am very much hooked into the book where I was looking forward to the next chapters. Like, good thing I read it, like, I had to read it this week because if
Yeah.
not, I would have been just on the edge of my seat going, I want to read more. I want to read more. I want to read more.
I honestly, I wanted to read the next chapter. I wanted to keep going.
hmm
Um, and as you know, I read it tonight, like literally before this. I just crazy schedule.
Yeah.
Um,
60 pages.
Oftentimes when I do that, I kind of skim read
hmm
uh, more than like I'll read it, but I'll skim read. This time, I was in there and just completely enthralled, and I was reading every word, and it was just playing like a movie the whole time, and it was beautiful.
Yeah. And that's how I read all the time. I can't I can't skim read. I can't. I know you can because like dude, you got like, but for me, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I read this, like, I wanna say, like, a year or so ago, but apparently there's, like, 2 different kind of mindsets for people. There are people
Yeah.
who have an internal monologue and people who don't. I'm an internal monologue guy.
What am I?
Uh-oh, do you have an internal monologue?
Yeah.
Okay, alright, we're both in. And
But
so,
I can do it without?
okay, so you're ambidextrous, so you're option 3. You're the weird.
I don't know. Mainly it's internal monologue though. Otherwise it's yeah, internal monologue is most of the time.
Yeah, for me, I'm internal monologue, so when I'm reading through this, and also being the voice actor, I'm flipping voices inside my head too.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
but dude, chapter 10 was just like, it was so good. I was just like, if every chapter was like this book would be perfect.
I have honestly, in everything we read, I have next to no complaints at all.
Zero complaints with chapter 10. It was
Yeah, chapter 10, zero complaints.
like it was just a fantastic way. Like they explained what the tenets were in just the
Yeah.
most organic way possible.
Yeah.
Like, it was just gold. Like, it was just gold the way it was explained. Because it
I
wasn't like,
agree.
"Oh, the tenants are this." It had gone, "If you were to get rid of the tenants, would you?" And it turned more into a debate, a philosophical debate.
Yeah.
And it was through this
Honest
debate we begin to learn.
it doesn't feel like exposition
Exactly.
at all. It technically is, but it's not. It's just dialogue where it's people having this conversation
Mhm.
and it feels so authentic
Oh, yeah.
and it's completely in character and you start seeing the different characters and their personalities. You see a lot more of how Davian is very much firm in what he's been taught and were disagrees. And they never thought of disagreeing with each other about this because they weren't allowed to talk about it.
Yeah. Like
But
Bruno.
this is where I okay, I guarantee I'm not going there. I guarantee Were is the king's son.
Dude, at this point, I'm convinced.
Okay, I've called it from the moment it had his name different.
Yes, yes, you did. I'm just and as you said that, and as I keep on reading, I'm just like, yeah, no, I'm believing Cody. Like Cody's gonna be more right. But it's not at least his son. It's just it is still like he's royalty's son. Like he is a prince. Like
Yeah, he definitely is.
I
And I'm
am
so excited for that reveal.
actually yeah. I even have my notes. Words getting more and more interesting with every chapter to where I believe he could be a prince, most likely King Andros's son.
Yep.
Like I'm
And
believing it.
most of it is that foreshadowing that he does, and it's to me very blatant. But
Oh,
where
dude.
he
Yeah.
says that there's no way the king would ever trust one of the gifted to listen to them to change the tenets because he's the only one that can.
Yeah.
And well, Wur has spent so much time poring over this. He's so involved in politics. He's obviously someone important, and his dad's someone important. Has to be Keen Andress. I guarantee it at
Yeah.
this point.
Because, again, the reason why he's in politics, yes, definitely the royal upbringing and everything along those lines. But also, he has such more of a personal connection and a personal reason for all this. It's not just, oh, idle passing, just like, oh, yeah, the king would not agree to this. It's very much like, no, the king would not agree to this, period. I know because I've asked him. It was
Yep,
something along those lines.
exactly.
And oh, dude, I also love how we learned that there are things called named weapons in this.
Called what?
Named weapons?
Oh, named weapons.
Yeah,
Yes,
named. Oh my gosh, that was so cool. I'm like, "Ooh."
I know. Oh, it was so cool. The whole setup with all this was so great. Okay, actually, I do have one complaint.
Okay.
I do have one, and that is the way he set up everything early on, and the way that it's talked about now with the tenants. I don't feel like it coincided as much.
Hmm.
I am when they start talking about it, they talk about how everyone in the gifted wants the tenants gone, and that they want the I
Yeah.
am I am basically like they want to be back in charge.
Okay.
But I never got that feeling earlier on. I got the
Yeah.
thing that they didn't like the tenants, And while that might be a sub feeling, like it's oh, what's the phrase? A subtext
Okay.
of it all.
Mhm.
It wasn't expressed. That wasn't something that felt like it was openly expressed at all.
Yeah,
And
it
but
like,
now, yeah,
there was no begrudging with the tenants. It was always like, "Okay, well, it's just the way things are done." Instead of a,
yeah,
like, "Ugh, do I really have to do the tenants? Like, I understand it, but really? I'm just going into town to grab a couple of supplies. Do I really need it?" Like, we don't
mhm,
sense that begrudging, or at least the people, or again, there is really no air of just, like, hatred towards the tenants. Like, it's not until here
yeah.
we begin to understand that, oh, people don't like the tenants.
Yeah, and I mean, earlier he mentioned that it's inconvenient, but everything's explained in the sense of this is why we have it. And it's like, okay, this is why we have it. And so it's just everyone accepts it. To suddenly it's everybody's always hated it. Like all the gifted always hated
Mhm.
it. And that was my only complaint is I don't feel like it was led up to that as much. It was more surprise.
Yeah.
I am looking back, I can see it, I understand it, but I just don't feel like it led up to it.
Like, there needs to be a little bit more feeling, so to speak, written into it.
Yeah.
Like, best like, that's the thing I've kinda noticed a little bit with this book is sometimes it is the writing is very simple.
Yeah.
Like don't get me wrong, it is good writing. Like, he's overall, it's pretty good, you're able to follow it, he's telling the story, it's doing a pretty good job. And it's not like some people who just, like, drop the F-bomb or just drop in a curse just to do it for a shock factor. He's writing, he's trying
Mhm.
to tell the story, and he's trying to show his own world.
Yes.
Gonna say we just need a little bit more emotion. Again, it just needs in every respect, this is where I feel like this is written by semi-professional, not someone
Okay.
who's been really in the industry for a long time, like Rothfuss or Sanderson.
Okay.
Like, it's just mission it is missing that just clean polish of just going in that deep.
I could see that.
Like, that's the only thing that's why I say it's written a little bit more simply, but that's also the charm of it too, is it is
It
written
is.
simply to where it pulls you in and you don't have to learn what lashings are or how sympathy works or anything like that. It brings you in, it draws you in, and it is explaining it in a very organic way. So the way he's done and written it organically is phenomenal. Because
Yes.
just as we explained with the way they were explaining the tenets, that was done in a fantastic way of it being a debate, them talking, conversing about it, but having that little bit of foreshadowing or very establishing the fact that the gifted do not like the tenets. And so you
Mhm.
maybe you could create more of a rift within the city of people who have the tenet and people who like people who are gifted and the people who are not. Create more
Yeah.
of a friction in that regard prior to and we see it when he's in the city more instead of just like one little fight.
Yeah. And so trying to think how best to phrase this. So looking back, like I said, I can see how he put those things in,
Mhm.
but like you said, he didn't have the emotion coming from Davian about it.
Exactly.
Where
Like,
if we had
mhm.
seen, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, actually, like, if it's during that fight, if we got inside Davy and say he's like, "I really wish the tenants were off. I really just wanna let loose and let these kids have it." Like, if it was something
Yeah.
along those lines, okay, then we can make that assumption. Something like that. That is again, I say it's a simple line, but
Yeah. Hmm. That's it. That was my only complaint.
yeah.
Other than that, I love this. I think
Mhm.
that is so well done.
It is.
And this chapter was by far my favorite.
Mhm.
I am at up to this point, and then it
Mine
just
too.
gets better.
Mine too. And then it's just really like, "Alright, we're in this."
Yeah. That was my favorite written chapter. That's my favorite chapter, how everything was written and came
Mhm.
together.
Yes.
The next chapter is probably my favorite for story.
I would agree. I would definitely agree. I'd say just real quick, I
Yes.
think the only other complaint I have with this, but again, it's not bad.
Okay.
It's more on it feels very cliched in the regards of course they're in a tavern gambling. Like that's where I was just like, oh, of course they're in a tavern gambling. And it's just like, oh, every single D&D session, tavern and gambling. That's where it's like,
That's true.
it feels a little cliched, but it's not bad. It's not in a bad way.
It's not.
It's
And it's one of those things where at this point in time, I just accept it as the reality.
mhm.
And so it didn't even cross my mind as a negative, where it's just, of course they're there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those, like, okay, it's cliched, but it's not bad. It's just like, okay, of course,
Yeah.
we gotta be in a tavern gambling, like, of course. Check mark on fantasy gambling, check. It was
Yeah.
very much one of those lines, like, I feel like it was kinda more like it was going down a fantasy checklist. Gambling, check. Tavern, check,
Check.
fight
Gambling in a tavern.
check.
Check.
Fight breaks out in a tavern, check. Somebody gets
Somebody
killed,
dies.
check.
Check. Character feels guilty about it.
Check.
Check.
Character
Reminded the person was terrible. Check.
check. Like, it was very much like very much was going down the fantasy checklist of, like, to
Yeah.
check. Again, it's cliched, but here's the thing with it, it's more of a trope, and
It
tropes
is.
are that helps kinda get everybody familiar with it. Like,
Yeah.
if it's an anime shonen, we gotta have the names of every single move. It's just one of those things, it's a staple, and that's what this tavern's gambling was. It's a staple to it.
It is. It is.
So, again, I say complaint, it's just more of like a no I have. It's very cliched, but it's not bad.
That's fair. What did you think of the game that they played?
I like how simple it was.
I do too.
It's something that's like, we could do that. That's a simple game. In every
Yeah.
respect, it's BS.
Basically, it was a combination of BS and I am
21, I think.
basically more like yeah, it's like a combination of 21 and 5 card.
Mhm.
Um but yeah, basically yeah, it was just high card wins. So yeah,
So
let's read the description of the game.
for me, I put the card game is it's a pretty simple idea, and I like it because it is a very simple idea. Because again, we get into games that are like, oh yeah, you gotta. Oh my gosh, we get into games like Sabak from Star Wars.
Yeah, I hate Sabak.
Well, I hate the way they did it in Solo. Okay, I like the original, although the original is on crack
Yeah.
because it Sabak is like blackjack and Texas Hold'em in one. I say that because there are like a certain way you can get a combo of cards, like in poker, that will
Yeah.
equate to like a royal flush or full house. But the goal of Sabak is to either have the highest points, either positive or negative, but you can't
Okay.
go over 25.
Okay.
The reason why I say it's on crack is because in Star Wars, it's digital cards, and the cards will randomly change.
That's right.
That was the part that was on crack to me,
I understand that.
which again, they did not do that in Solo, and I think that's the biggest thing that made me mad in Solo. I was like, "They're not playing Sabak."
Yep. They should have.
Anyway, so did you find the rules for the card game?
I'm right around it. Okay, here we go. He mentally ran through the rules of Gachette again. Everyone started with 10 cards. Players either passed, eliminated themselves from the round, or lay 1, 2, or 3 cards face down on the table, called their combined value, and made a bet of any amount. The card value called had to be higher than any previous played. So then, once a bet was made, another player could claim Gesh, becoming the accuser, indicating that they thought the cards laid down were not of the value called. If Gesh was invoked, the cards returned face up. If the call had been honest, if the call had been honest, the accuser paid the player double their bet. If it had been false, though, a player not only honored their bet but gave the same amount to the accuser. Whoever finished the round having played the highest cards, either honestly or without being caught, collected everything that had been bet during that round.
All right.
So in a sense, like 21, everyone has their own bet.
Mhm.
You don't have to call anyone else or match anyone else. Everyone has their own unique one. But then I love that you can it's all just escalating around the table
Okay.
to be higher and higher.
That's why it's the 10 cards, is because then you can
Yeah,
add to it. So it's very much like one of those things like you don't want to come out of the gate super high. Because
yeah,
if you have like let's just say you had like a couple super high cards, like a 10, a 2, sorry, a 10, 11, and a 9. And then the rest are like threes, fours, and fives. You want to lay those down and really much kind of gaze everybody's reaction. Okay.
mhm.
And then you can just add on to it so that way you can go, ha ha, I'm at 21 now. And that's where they
Well, it
go,
doesn't say how many rounds it goes around, like how many times it goes around. It might be that it's just one time around, and so you do put your highest cards.
true.
And
Okay.
then if you do have the highest set, then you know everyone else is lying and you can
Hmm.
call Gesh on them.
True. Very true. But again, I like like it is a simple idea and it's something that could be implemented.
It's true. And I like that it's a game unique to the hunters
Yes.
or seekers in this country.
Yes. That was really cool.
Yeah. And I did really like how they described the subtle differences. And they used to use that little contrast to kind of give you a feeling of how this one was going to be.
Hmm. Say was
Uh,
but card game
yeah,
was cool.
yeah. So that was all chapter 10.
Yeah, that was all chapter 10. So now chapter 11. They finally know what the heck the cube is for.
Yes. So, yep, they start, he figures it out, starts following it. They end up, of course, coming across the guards,
and
walk past the guards,
and I
right?
like how it's very much like they then learn from their mistakes. It's not like, aha, I have the cube, therefore I must go to the guards.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, okay, we stop it, hide it. Okay, play cool, play cool, play cool. Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave. No, too excited. Get past and they're
They
like,
go,
ah, shit, gotta go back.
of course. I love that's how they end the chapter.
Was that how they ended the chapter? I thought that's how they ended this section.
Oh, it was just a
It was
section.
just a
You're right.
section, yeah.
It was a section. Yeah,
Yep.
we come this far. Or
I suppose we're gonna try and get
no,
them. Oh no, no, that's the next section.
before that. So it's the one before it. So
Of
towards the
course it is.
soldiers, Davian hesitated and then nodded. Towards the soldiers, were let out a low string of violent curses that Davian had never heard him use before. Then he took a few deep breaths to compose himself. Of
Of course
course it is, he said calmly.
Yep.
Oh, that's wonderful.
But
Yep.
I think this is actually I'll say that comment for the next chapter because that's where it's really prevalent. But story wise, this chapter was good just because of what happens. It really is just like oh,
Yep.
and actually lets you see the power of a gifted that's unchained.
Which is really cool. And one of the things that I kind of have a complaint about, but kind of don't, is how close they were to this group passing through. Like, so they learn about. I know that they were following this guy the entire time, technically, getting closer and closer using the light or the wayfinder. Um, but when they're sitting down with the hunters, they hear the story of the person that they're going to look for. That he's an unchained gifted,
Yeah, actually,
or
that's the
unmarked.
comment I was saving for the next chapter or in a couple
Okay,
chapters, is because this is where his foreshadowing is a little blunt.
a little bit.
His like again, and this is where I think both of us were used to Rothfuss and Sanderson, where it's especially with
Sprinkled.
it's sprinkled. It's like it is a drop of sand here and there, except for
Yes.
Sanderson. Sanderson's is a dump truck that you have no idea that's foreshadowing.
Yeah.
It's like you're
Yeah.
getting buried alive and you have no idea of just foreshadowing. Whereas Rothfuss is
Exactly.
very much the sprinkle here, sprinkle there, sprinkle along the trail.
Yeah. It.
Whereas this one's just like, "Ha ha! I'm doing foreshadowing."
Yes, it is very, very blatant. I am.
And this is just the main example with it.
Yeah, because it feels like it almost feels like it's an like a ex machina type thing, a deus ex machina, where it's just convenient. This is
Ah,
just convenient that it's here.
oh, it's a
I
convenient plot point kind of thing.
Yeah, where of course they learn about this person right before they meet them, and of course that they hear about him, and that's who they're going to see. Like,
Like, what would have worked a little bit better is if this story actually got out to the university, and that's why they actually had to do the test early.
yeah,
That would have made more sense. And just
that would
that
have been.
yeah, and that news would have been going around. Like,
Yep,
that would have still foreshadowed it, but not as blunt as, like, straight to the face. This one would have been more of a dagger to the face, so to speak. Like, it would
exactly.
still be a little straightforward, but at least then you're like, "Oh, they talked about this early on at the university. Okay."
Yeah, exactly, and that would have been so great.
Like, I just think we needed more time at the university to really get an idea of the day-to-day life of a gifted.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, cause then having that knowledge and then going forward would have definitely helped. Like, at least helped us kinda get into the mindset of what's going on with these guys.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I do love about I Name of the Wind is how much time is spent at the university, how much time is spent learning and
Ooh,
just him figuring things out. And you get the full understanding of how things are. And nothing ever I don't know about you, but I never felt like the book was slow.
never. Well, okay. I think it's different degrees, I should say. It's never really slow. It's just it's almost like school in the
Yeah.
respect of, like, you go into different subjects. Like, you're still in
Mhm.
school, you're still in this area, but you're learning about different avenues, you're learning about different subject, whether that be sympathy or oh, crap. What the heck?
Naming.
Naming, but I was thinking, what the heck does he actually do? It like, making crap. What is it?
Oh,
Artificing.
what artificing. Yeah, the
Yeah,
artificing.
artificing. That's the
The fishery.
yeah, the fishery. But learning the fishery, learning the ins and outs of that, learning the politics of the school, learning about the entire exam day, exam week, how people broker for different time slots.
Yeah.
Like,
Going to the Aeolian.
yes, it really like, this is where Rothfuss beats Rowling in the way the school was created and established.
To be fair, Rothfuss beats Rowling in every single regard.
Oh,
But
yes, yes, I agree, I agree. It's actually, this is the way I would equate it. Rowling is good for, like, the young adults who are just kinda getting into the books. Rothfuss is
yeah,
for those who graduated from there,
exactly.
because it is a lot deeper. It is that high fantasy without being without again, without some of the tropes.
Yeah.
It's a breath of fresh air. It's a new way of taking on it, but we're getting divergent from our actual book. Anyway,
Yes, let's get back.
let's get back to James Islington. We're not doing again. Our name may be Tomes, but we will do another episode talking
We'll
about King
we'll go
Killer.
back to yeah, King Killer another time. Um,
But again, just we need more time at the school with the gifted to really get like the ins and outs of the school that he was at. Don't get wrong, like because
yes.
again, them saying, "Oh, we were not allowed to talk about it." We didn't see a classroom where they were like, where it became an awkward silence when someone talked about it.
Yeah. If That's one of the examples of showing instead of telling.
Mhm.
And this is he just told it. And so it's like, okay, now we know. But how much more powerful would it have been if a new student, like a new person got brought in and they're talking about it and they're just like, well, shouldn't we do this? And everyone just goes silent.
I was like, "We don't talk about it. We don't talk about it. Just keep your head down and
Yeah,
focus on the book."
exactly. And just showing it that way would have been so much better. But I understand he has a lot he wants to get through.
Yep,
This book is what, 700 pages long.
yep. So,
So I understand.
I understand, and again, this is where, there's some things where the author is at the mercy of the publisher, so to speak.
Yes.
Because this is the hard part of writing fantasy, is that you gotta get the publisher to read thousands of pages of a book. Like, imagine Sanderson submitting Way of Kings as his first book. The publisher's gonna see this big old stack of book and go, "Ah, I don't wanna spend my time reading through that." There's a reason why
Yeah.
Elantris was his first one. It was like 300-400 pages, okay?
Yeah.
But it still showed his writing style, showed what he could do, and then he built his credibility up from there. So sometimes you gotta start with the smaller book in order to get to the big hunkin' boys, which is what this is. I
Yeah.
think I think James Islington, and this is where I don't know his history. I think he started with a big old hunkin' thing instead of just something smaller and more digestible.
Yeah.
But again, this could be lacking knowledge on my end because he could have probably had another book he submitted, and this is his like, oh, this is my pet project. This is my baby.
Could be. I
But
am. We don't know.
we don't know.
But it's still really great and there is so much to get through on this, like the full book. That I understand him not wanting to I am
Yeah.
to do all that backstory when because that is also a problem people have is they do too much filler backstory and not enough of the actual story. And he's just starting right off. This is the story. I gave
Mhm.
you like a chapter prefacing it to get you introduced, but this is the story.
Yeah.
And I do appreciate that.
Yeah, and honestly, I can tell he's excited to tell the story. Like, he's
He is.
excited to tell it. Like, that's the thing I am taking away from this. This is why I'm just like, "Oh, no. We don't have the expositional backstory we need." No, it's very much like he's excited to tell the story. He wants us to get into it because he's had this idea. He's probably wants us to get pulled in. He's excited about it,
Yeah.
and I can tell that based on the writing.
Hmm. I agree. I am. So I think the next chapter
Yeah.
is
Chap
I am
well, chapter 11, yeah, they
Asher.
go in, yeah,
Oh, go
they
ahead.
say the kid. Oh, yeah, okay, theories on what the monster is.
Oh, I wonder if it's a basically like a corrupted shadow.
Yeah, I'm thinking that too, or maybe it's something that predates, the tenets and everything along those lines,
Hmm.
and that it's more of like oh my gosh, what was the? Because again, in the prologue,
Yeah, and
because it could be a monster from then, from during the wars.
it's true. They also reference that they were trying to create people could that didn't follow the tenants, and that's what they thought the kid was
Mhm.
that wasn't Mark, and that could be what the creature was.
Oh,
As it
yeah.
says that he's disfigured, and that at the very end his eyes are pleading, like he doesn't want to do this, or he just wants to be saved. And so to me,
Oh.
it reminded me of the shadows. And I think that it's going to tie in. I think the process that the shadows go through is one of the processes that these things went through.
Yeah, I have a theory.
Let's hear it.
Asha is gonna be selected to be part of, like, whatever program this thing went through.
I think so too.
But she's gonna be like, this is where she's gonna be able to overcome it.
Yeah, I think it's basically going to give her her powers back, but stronger and darker. So she'll kind of like a dark version of herself,
Mhm.
but she'll overcome that. And then she just has the powers of it.
Yeah. Like, that's where I'm excited.
Yeah,
If that theory pans out. Again, could be
I
completely
hope
wrong.
so.
I hope
We
so.
could be.
We could be dead wrong, but again, it's a fun theory. It's a fun idea.
It is.
Okay, so now segue to Asha.
Yes. I'm really glad that that he subverted my expectations that she would be blamed for everything.
Mhm.
And I thought they did a really great job with it. There is still kind of clunky with the writing in this part.
It's yeah.
I am that and Ash is kind of my least favorite part right now because it feels more clunky writing. I am but I feel like it's just a transition phase to
Mhm.
get to her main story and then I'll really enjoy her story. I love her character. I just had a harder time with this chapter.
Yeah, this chapter I felt was, again, very much the Dias Machina.
Yeah.
It was more very much like, "Ah, here's Asha's plot armor." kinda level.
Yeah.
That's what that chapter kinda felt like. It was just like, "Oh, here's the reasons why I'm saying you're not in trouble." Instead and then offers this deal that is to get her into her main story. When I
Yeah.
really feel like it should be a little bit more subtle, needs to have those little bit more undertones,
Yes.
instead of, like, this guy going, "Aha! I have a deal for you. That's conveniently in line with your goals." Like, it feels a little too convenient.
It
Like
does.
that's my only beef. Again, I do enjoy Asha's chapters a little bit because
Mhm.
it gets more into the political intrigue, so to speak.
That's fair.
Like, that's where I like Asha's chapters. There's more now we're seeing into the eyes of the school, the keepers. What exactly are they? What is it exactly they do? We're finally kind of seeing that in the previous chapters. And now we're seeing kind of what it's like on the end of the shadows. It's more on is providing that other perspective. And that's
Yeah.
what I appreciate. I think yes, it is still very clunky, like especially this last chapter where it's just like, oh, here's all the convenient stuff.
Yeah, and I don't know, I just expected more
Hmm.
from their leader other than this is the best way I can describe it as something, and it's actually my biggest regret with the campaign I did. The king
Okay,
at the very start, where too friendly, too laid back.
too
It's
perfect, too nice.
yeah, and he's not a leader.
Hmm.
It doesn't feel like a leader. He feels just like a friend, and that's not how leaders actually are.
He feels that like that parent who's more prioritizing friendship over being a parent.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Which,
And so
yeah,
it's like things conveniently work out for him because he's nice, but that's not how it actually works. And it just doesn't feel authentic on that part. His character itself is the only one that has not felt authentic so far.
yeah. And for all we know, this could be a facade. Which, if it is, okay, cool. But if not, it's and
Yeah,
this is where I really it's just like I don't have enough information on him.
that's true.
He feels very much more like an NPC. Like, I think
Yeah.
he has the NPC energy of, "Aha! Here's your quest. Go and fulfill your destiny." It very much has that vibe to it.
We must save my family.
"We must save my family! Ah! Ah!" "You left Sachi to die, you bastard!"
I'm trying not to quote the whole thing
I
right
know,
now.
I
I
know.
just watched it.
That explains why you brought it up then. Alright.
How does it taste? Uh,
Dude, okay,
okay.
essay abridged. It's a diamond in the rough, man.
That's just a diamond. I love it so much.
It is. Alright, so chapter 13.
Yes, chapter 13. I think we already covered 13 pretty well.
We covered it pretty well. Main thing that we haven't
Okay.
covered is the fact that now Davian oh, wait, is it this chapter?
Oh, sorry. 13. I was still thinking 12.
13,
13.
Davian,
Okay.
yeah.
So after they saved the
Good.
kid, they get the creature attacks, and then they get surprise attacked by someone else and all get knocked out. Of course, Davian wakes up like not instantly, but he wakes up
Except
before
first.
everyone else. And the guy who put him to sleep is just like, oh, that's not supposed to happen. All right, I guess we have time.
It's like it's very much like that instance of, like, you say goodbye to each other and you keep walking together, like, as you're
It's the
leaving.
most awkward thing
It is.
ever, and I loved it. I thought that was so well done here. Because what else is he supposed to do?
It's like, "Crap, I still have time to till I have to meet with my contacts. Got any questions?"
Yeah. But I do like that he took the opportunity, like, I'm gonna get answers from you first. And
Like, "You're gonna
I
answer
thought
my
that was
questions,
so
you
great.
bastard."
And I love that it gives us an answer about the guy from before.
He is a sneaky SOB. Like, I do not trust him. Oh my
I
gosh.
know, and it all makes sense, and I don't know why we didn't think about him actually, like,
Being
of
able
course
to
he'd have a
subvert it.
way to shield himself.
Yeah, of course. Like,
Yeah, of
it's,
course he would know how. He worked with them.
yeah.
I feel so dumb. And
And
so I
again,
just read this show, I'm just like, "Okay, okay, I'm good."
which actually is a fantastic thing to fill because Dave is like, I'm an idiot. And we're like, we're idiots.
Yeah. I mean, you already didn't believe him, and there is that doubt, but at the same time, I was like, "But his thing didn't go off. There has to be truth. We have to figure this out." And then this the realization that that's how he did it. That son of a bitch, that's how he did it.
Okay, dude. Okay. I'm going to subvert it to Warhammer real quick. Harris
Okay.
Heresy, there's one asshole we blame for it, and the asshole's name is Erebus. Okay. He is the
Erebus, okay.
he's just a normal stupid space marine, but he's able to convince all the dumb Primarchs to go traitor. And those that are suspicious of him are the loyalists. So that's how I feel with him. I'm like, Erebus, you son of a bitch, you're in this book.
That's funny.
But anyway,
But yeah,
yeah, that's why I was like,
I love oh, go ahead.
I say that's why I was like,
I
I didn't
love
respect him.
okay.
I'm done.
Yes,
Go.
yes. I love that this was the person who had saved him before.
Yes.
I love they bring him back. He had felt so much guilt over this guy getting killed, and then he finds out he didn't, and there's a legitimate way that he escaped. Everything lines up. It doesn't feel like, oh, just convenient. With all that, everything is like, okay, I can buy this.
I can
All of
buy
this,
this.
I am buying what he's selling.
Yep. And I'm just like, the dude's a badass.
Yeah, he is. He's all
Oh, he make
scarred up.
oh yeah, no, he makes me think of Land from Wheel of Time actually.
Okay.
Which Land is Moraine's warder to start off with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he just has that vibe about him that he's just like, yeah, I'm skilled. I not only can I use the gift and to defend myself, but I actually know how to fight and defend myself.
Yep.
So it just actually, yeah, it's very much the Aragorn archetype.
It is. Speaking of which, I'm really sad that that guy was not going to be the what was his name from the prologue?
Oh,
Tal.
yeah, Tal.
Tal Komar.
Hmm.
I'm so sad that guy's not going to be. But it's cool that we got to see the effect of what I am Davian can actually do, the
Hmm.
smuggler,
Yeah, lost
and
the memory
it
for two
wiped
weeks, 2 years.
was it, yeah,
It
2
was
weeks, 2 years,
2 years.
yeah, 2 years of memory wiped.
Damn.
Pretty dope. All because he wanted him to forget one little thing. That's how powerful he is. He just hasn't learned how to use it yet.
Exactly, and I love how we're seeing that. I love the foreshadowing, and again, dude, there's a
Yeah.
reason why they compare it to Wheel of Time, and as we're going
Mhm.
through it, I'm just like, I see the parallels so much.
Ah,
Like,
it's so great.
it's so good, and I'm just like, I like this. This I say is the PG-13 version of Wheel of Time.
That's fair.
Again, I say PG-13 not in its content, but in the way it's written.
Yeah.
So, like, I would say
Yeah.
read this before you read Wheel of Time.
It'd be a good transition. That's for sure.
Exactly. Mhm.
I'm
Just Wheel of Time is a little bit more exposition heavy than this is.
yeah. 13 was a really short chapter.
13 was very short because again, but was very quick and answered some questions for us.
Mhm.
And then we get to
It
chapter
does.
14.
Well, hold on. So I love the last line of 13. He does really great with the last lines. He does really great where it's kind of that it concludes the chapter very well, but
Mhm.
makes you want to keep reading. It's not always a cliffhanger, but it's cliffhanger enough.
Mhm.
And I honestly I love his last lines. He does great. This one, Denvar had lied. It had all been for nothing.
Yeah.
You feel his despair at the end of this part. It concludes this part and how he's feeling. That was beautifully read.
Yeah.
Okay, so 14, everyone else starts waking up, start figuring it all out. I am, and they test the kid and everything,
Mhm.
go through his story. The thing that I love, and this is so realistic, is that at the end of his story, the kid said, "Oh, thank you for saving me. I didn't want to go to, like, I didn't want to go get executed." And that was the one time he lied
Yeah.
because he thinks he did this. He thinks he killed these people.
Mhm.
And he just like, I just want to die at this point. I was being beaten every day. My life is miserable. Of course, I just want it to end.
Oh, yeah.
But he lies about it because now things are getting better, and you don't want to tell people that you'd rather die,
And I love
especially
how
people you just met.
Davian actually covers that up
I do too. It shows
because
how much
yeah,
compassion he has for him.
and this is
Just
where you really, like, see the empathy and sympathy that Davian has, and that's what makes him such a good character.
yeah,
Like, he's not like the Boy Scout goody two shoes boy, he's like, "He lied because he's probably gone through some shit. I am going to let him work it out, but I am going to help him where I can."
yeah. He sees people in terrible situations that he's been in, and he understands. Even if he hasn't felt exactly the same way, he still understands. Um, so
And
no, I like it.
yeah, and even with his enemies, he's like, "I don't wanna kill them, I don't wanna do that." Because when he accidentally when he kills the guy during the bar fight, he's like,
Yeah,
"I did not wanna kill him."
it's true. Which shows another one of his powers, though, that he can react extremely fast
Yep,
and time slows down around him. I love it.
like,
I am.
I love how
Go
we're
ahead.
beginning to see some of the Augur's abilities and what he can do, and what I'm guessing it is very much he's able to enhance stuff about people.
Yeah.
Like, whether that be their memory, whether that be through whether or not they can tell the truth, or even with himself, he's able to slow the time down
Hmm.
and have a quicker and faster reaction time.
Yeah.
So then the big question is, how does he tap into it? Which is again what we're going to read and find out.
Yes. Something I'm very excited about that gets brought up into this.
Hmm.
So they ask the kid what his name is, and he says his name is Caden. I am. And then it says, Terrace grunted, Caden, like the Doritian fairy tale. How appropriate, he said dryly. So I guarantee at some point we're going to hear the Doritian fairy tale about Caden.
Hmm. It's a nice little, like that one's a nice little nugget of foreshadowing. That's a nice little. Well, it's more of a
Yeah,
spoonful instead,
it is, but
but still
it's
nice.
not some, yeah, and it's not something that's happened right away.
Hmm.
And it's something that they bring up, but of course, it's one of those things like, oh, everybody knows this fairy tale, so they don't explain it right then.
Exactly, and I like that. It's very much again like going into what's the name of the second one for King Killer Chronicles?
A wise man's fear.
Yeah, it's very much like when they're swapping stories.
Yes.
Like, there are some stories that people just know, and then when you go to other cultures, like, what is that story? Oh, you haven't heard the
Yeah.
story about the golden belly button? Uh,
I love that one so much.
I love it so freaking.
What's the purpose of it? There is none.
Yeah,
He
no,
just kept me busy.
yeah, no, his ass just fell off. But again,
Yeah.
I do like the direction the story's going, and I feel like we're now actually getting to what what James Islington is excited to tell us.
Yes.
And I feel like as we get into that part of it, the story's gonna slow down and we're gonna get better and better nuggets of just information and we can just go on with it.
I agree. It's We're right at the crux, and I'm so excited to see where this goes.
Me too.
I guess we'll have to stay tuned for the next time to find out.
Yep, stay tuned. We'll do this again in a couple of weeks. And then we
Yep.
will get to the start of chapter 20. So it's 15 through 19.
Yep.
Just because wait, how many chapters are there? 53. Okay, I think 53 chapters.
Yeah. There's no index.
Epilogue.
Yep.
And 54. There's 54 chapters.
Okay.
54 chapters, 661 is Page 661 is where that begins. But
Don't read the last line.
I'm not. Oh no. Best of
I'm
luck.
not saying anything.
Okay, good. I'll look it.
Oh, it's a good twist. Oh, that's a good twist. Oh, man.
That's why you gotta be careful, man. I never read.
I didn't try to.
I
I
looked
just saw a
right at the
name,
number.
and I was like, "Oh, that's cool," and then I saw the name, like, the stuff with it next to it, I was like, oh my gosh. Ooh.
No, you're just more excited on how we get to that point now.
I am so excited. I can't wait for you to find this out. This is an amazing twist. I can't believe it. Oh my gosh.
All right. Let me see.
Don't do it. No, 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 no. Don't, please. Please don't.
Okay.
I want you to see it organically.
Okay. I'll be the one that actually has a good, honest reaction, and then you're gonna be the one that's just like, I
You
knew
just saw my good, honest reaction just now.
it.
Because this reveal is at the very end.
Dang.
I can tell just the way that last sentence was written. This reveal is a very end one. This is a Sanderson level drop, how it seems.
Ooh.
It
All
might not be
right.
quite to his level, but it's a Sanderson style where it's you get the big reveal right at the end.
Oh, dope. All right.
So,
I'm excited then.
all right, well, we'll put that put a bookmark in that and put it back on the shelf for next time.
All right. We'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. Have a